Where the heck am I? That's exactly what I'm thinking right now. I've joined the pens for stage 2 of the Zwift Games, and look at that scenery. What is going on? So we had to actually exit the whole Zwift application and get back in before the race started here, which we do. But apparently, lots of Zwifters actually got that bug and raced with like roads with just random scenery. So it was an interesting start to stage 2. Check my stage 1 video recap if you're not sure what happened. But we are here on the Scotland Smash for stage 2 of the Zwift Games. After finishing 11th in the first race, we had about 40 minutes to recover before we came back again for the second race. Now, I'd had a bit of a look at what happened in the first race in terms of results, and my plan was very similar in terms of the riders that I wanted to mark closely. Obviously, Pucker did really well race 1, so continue to watch him. Osborne, again, another rider who's very visible in the pack, got so much strength that watch him as well, and I think you'll be okay. But there were a few riders that I noticed race 1 finished outside the top 30. Not saying they're completely out of the GC just from that result alone, but they need to be pretty perfect from here. And what that means is that in my mind, there are now riders I'm happy to kind of see escape up the road and not worry about. The way the points is 1 point per place, they've got to do a lot of catching up to get back in it. Riders up the front will also take intermediate points as well, potentially, if there are breakaways, which for me, I don't think that's a bad thing with my rider type. So we start off with a lap around the Glasgow crit circuit, and it is pretty well contained. The average power for me there so far is only kind of just around 4.5 watts a kilo or a bit more. So it's not a ridiculously fast start by any means. Now, given what we just saw in the first race, where the turbo guys were really kind of on the move after any attack, I was pretty happy to just find my spot in the peloton and just kind of ride it out. You can always see that US jersey up the front, coming up around the side of the route up towards where we finish in a lap's time. It was good to get a bit of a look at this in a big pack to kind of get a sense of the timing, maybe roughly how long it was going to take to get to the finish line from certain points. I already had a good idea of this in my head from my research as well, and just knowing kind of speeds on certain gradients. So I knew roughly how long it was going to be from the start of this climb that comes up in yellow on the mini map, as well as when roughly 40 seconds would be to use that valuable draft power up, which we have leading into the finish, to hopefully run out at the finish line to get the best possible result. Now, I'm thinking this one's certainly kind of going to come down to a really big last minute if it's all together. If people have been really aggressive, then you never know. It might be a bit drawn out from the crit circuit. You just don't know with the strength of some of these riders. But at the same time, sometimes these races are a bit neutralised just because of the strength of the field. And how hard it is to kind of escape the clutches of such a field. So we're heading up into the corkscrew, always going to be solid up here. So we get momentum beforehand to carry a bit of speed, do that really nicely. Didn't have to go too deep there to stay in a really good spot. Heading into the first intermediates at Breakaway Bray. Again, my eyes are open to these, but knowing that it's uphill, it's going to take a big effort to actually be in the first 3. And, if you're going for it, you're really going to want to go for it, and it's going to hurt. So I'm probably leaning on the side of skipping this one particularly, unless there's a definite chance. I'm watching someone up the road there already. I'm not sure if they hold on or not, but I'm there waiting and seeing what happens. And as we go up the steep part, 700 watts, I notice people really full sprinting. And so I'm like, no, not going to put in that kind of effort. They can fight out those points. But I'm kind of keeping myself in a nice position around the top 10, around that US Champions jersey, to make sure that I'm in a good spot as we head into the next phase of the race. Grabbing a bit of recovery, you can see under 100 watts for a decent chunk of time there, just to lower the heart rate, get things settled. Just like race one, I wasn't as crafty as you can be. There are certainly riders in the field that did this race with a lower watts per kilo. But just in the sense where I feel like I sit in this pack at the moment, I'm not going to leave it all to chance and leave it all up to everyone. I'm happy to kind of waste a few watts in order to make sure I'm in good spots at the right time, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. You can see overall, like at the moment, 293 watts average, so it's still not a really difficult race. Osborne's on the move, Kaminsky, Pucker, all the kind of strong riders that you know are going to want it. You can see a little split happening off the front here, but just as what previously happens, I think Hayden's teammates get to the front and shut that one down. I'm in a nice spot, as you can see, just rolling through with a bit of momentum, even too much there, as I have to ease off to stay in the draft, but we're heading into the final 5K of the race, and I expect some solid fireworks from this point onwards. I haven't seen a draft power up. No one in this kind of field has been silly enough to waste that valuable little chance just yet, but it might happen as we head into the next stage. This is going to be hard. So up into high 600 watts. So it could be worse. It really could be worse. I'm getting the sense that, everyone is kind of looking at each other and knows how hard it is to actually pull something off without kind of significant help. Just like the Turbo Boys did in race one. Finally, a little chance to get another breather down to 0 watts, gathering as much kind of energy as I can for the final 5 minutes, just as I did in the first race. 146 heart rate, so that's a good spot to be. I've got, I'm feeling good. I'm gathering myself for a big finish. I'm thinking that it's going to be a big minute. If you saw my recent video, you'll see I did a PB for a minute of 693 watts within the last 2 weeks. So for me, I feel like I'm ready for this, as ready as I can be for what's to come here. Now, Hayden's on the front there still, bit of nose in the wind. Everyone comes together, and I think the Goldtron of Freddie goes off the front. Pretty bold move at this point, but he probably wasn't super happy with his first result, I'd imagine. And now, about to come to where it counts. I'm still feeling pretty good. I'm poised, and now I just need to execute my plan. We'll slow it down for this final minute and a half, and we'll just run through how it plays out. I've got a really kind of fixed plan, I guess. I am watching what's happening, but in terms of my power numbers on this hill, I have a really fixed idea of how I believe it will play out. I'm looking at people dropping draft power ups. I'm not sure if they've done those kind of reacting to other people or if that was their plan, but 900 meters is too soon. There's way more than 40 seconds to the line, and at 50k an hour, this is not our fastest point that we're going to be in the finish. More drafts coming off. I'm not sure if they would have been perfectly timed. Maybe they were, but here's my timing for the last 500 meters in terms of power and draft. I'll just watch it play out because I'm really, really happy with how I did this one. So basically, don't touch the wind at all. I come through with really good timing. I get this little message, which I've seen a few times lately, where the Zwift is checking some photo finishes. So I didn't actually know where I was, but I knew I was right up there around the top 5 mark. And I soon see either on the live stream or on someone else's activity on the companion app that I finished 5th. So very happy with that. Again, it was like a blanket finish. Everyone within like a second. So that's a really good result for me. You can see the numbers there. 10 for the final minute. Really good. Not much more to say about that one. And I've actually, when you combine the results from the 2 races, this is what I was really wondering, is because I finished 11th and 5th, was that going to be just enough to sneak into the sprint showdown? After a few minutes of waiting, I found out that this was the case, and I had to back up for the sprint showdown in another 40 minutes. Here's Kate's finish just as a bit of a bonus, actually. So I'll let that play out for you. But overall, going into the next week, we are sitting in 4th overall on points accumulated after those first 2 races. So I think Paradian's got intermediates in that one, plus a great result. So he's looking really good. And then he's obviously in the sprint showdown with me as well. So guys like that are also strong are super dangerous for the overall. As we watch Kate come into the finish of her race, she's finished 19th overall after 2 stages, which is also a really nice result. So thanks for watching this one. I'll be back in a couple of days' time with the sprint showdown, which I'm excited to bring you. Cheers.